Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. And what you're looking at is a ATC250ES Big Red, as it's affectionately known. Now the story on this is I bought it from a YouTube buddy, Big Mike, New Hampshire, Vermont, the border of Canada. Anyway, and he got it from a friend of his who bought this at an Arkansas fish and game auction. So this was a state vehicle to start with, right? They used it in Arkansas and used it well. Then Mike got it and he used it. He was actually part of a trails group. This is New Hampshire. And now I have it. I did get it running and it needed parts, and at the time I really did not have the money to buy the parts for it. I've since popped for them, and I'll show you what I needed to get, and we'll start putting this puppy together. I think we'll have it running shortly. So here we are, and on every all-terrain vehicle you have to kind of start in the same place. Is the engine seized or not? Now, I guess I have the Kickstarter there, but if I recall, this slips. Well, the engine does not appear to be stuck, and it seems to have plenty of compression. So that's a big step in the right direction. I think somewhere along the lines the back plastic may have been changed. See the way that's kind of gone pink? And this is still the Honda red. Once again, let me get my shadow off of it. Normally the Mayer stuff has a tendency to go pink from sitting out. But big step forward, the engine isn't seized. So back then, the reason why I stopped working on this thing is I did not have the money to put into the electric starter, right? The Kickstarter slips a little bit, and the electric starter and the gear set to go with the electric starter are about 200 bucks. This costs about 41, and this costs like 152. So you put the numbers together, you come to almost $200. Very, very common that these things need those gear sets and the starter, and as a matter of fact, they're becoming harder and harder to find. Particularly the gear that the starter itself drives gets torn up, right? If you look at the outer case, it's the cover that goes here. It is literally just a bushing. If you go to the newer models, the 1987 one, they actually have a bearing. The starter's a touch longer. They have a bearing that goes out there, and it's shaped a little different. The cases are not interchangeable. Anyway, you can see here that I have the redneck electrical type solution, sealing that up. Let's get that opened up, smash the gears in, and see if we can't get this puppy started. Looks like I'm also going to have to do something with the carburetor. So before one throws $200 worth of gears, starter gears into this, you really want to make sure that your starter clutch is free, that it spins one way counterclockwise without grabbing or dragging or anything, and the other way it locks. If you try to go clockwise, it locks, and that's facing the engine this way. If for some reason it's dragging when the engine starts, right, it's going to try to turn your starter gears backwards, and you can hear a very bad sound as your $200 gets flushed away. The first gear to go in is this guy, and you can see back in there where it's got to kind of work its way. right in there and set itself into that little hole. And I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to put the gear on. I'm putting the gear on second because I don't want to drop the gear in there and have to fish it on out. Okay, you guys can see that it's in there. And by the way, don't be cheap with the oil, right? Because it never hurts waking an engine up with all the gears all oiled up and so forth. So once again, be generous. A little extra oil hurts nothing. Not enough oil hurts everything. You guys can see I put the starter in place, and I put the gear shaft in place, and now it's just a matter of not getting stung by a bee. And I just slide this on, and once again I'm gonna give it plenty of oil. One of the things that I think causes trouble is people frequently forget to put this on. Now, this retaining or this washer helps take up some of the space, so I do recommend putting it on, right? You really don't want things clanging about, so make sure you get all the parts back where they were. Once again, don't be cheap with the oil. So there we are. So it's carburetor time, and you guys could see I have the OEM carburetor sitting there. Unfortunately, the choke, as I recall, was seized in there. So let's kind of put that off to the side. I was smart enough to block that off, which is a really, really good thing. Now, I'm going to try to kill two birds with one stone here, and by saying that, I'm going to move the carburetor over that was on the Bayou. If you guys recall, the Bayou was a little unstable with its idling and so forth. So I'm going to smash it on here and see if it's a carburetor problem or if it has something to do with the Bayou. Some of you pointed out to me that Kawasaki Bayous are a cranky creature when they're cold. When you first wake them up and they're cold, that they're not the happiest engine in the world. So maybe it's that, or maybe it is the carburetor. So let me put it on here and see what we have. So the last few steps, I put some oil in here, right? That seemed to work so well the last time that I figured I'd keep it up. And I checked the oil, and the oil not only looks beautiful, it's clean, it's full. Couldn't wish for anything better than that. Now, given that I put a bunch of oil into the spark plug hole, you really don't want to turn it over too fast unless you want to be shot in the face with oil. So you just kind of either turn it over with the Kickstarter or by turning it over like that, you distribute the oil around, which is good, gets everything moving. Turn it over slowly just to be sure that nothing's jumped out of time. Once again, I've had this engine running before, and as I was turning the Kickstarter over, I can feel the compression fighting me and so forth. By the way, this is a 1985 model. And there you are. Just 2 seconds on the Bayou. By the way, you see the way that intake manifold is bolted on there? I'm wondering if I don't have a leak here, which is what's causing my engine stability troubles, particularly at idle. Anyway, just wanted to show that to you. So, we have all the life support hooked up, right? The jump pack for the starter, the portable CDI box, input to the CDI for the pulse generator is that blue and yellow right here. And ground is the green with the white stripe. The other ground goes to the case. So if we turn the choke on, we turn the portable CDI box on, and by the way, this is a cold start. And I don't have a gas tank rigged up, and I kind of have the throttle hanging here somewhere. There it is. So let's see what this thing is going to want to do. Check that out. Kill the choke. I kind of have the camera in my hand. Well, can't turn that up. It's going to take two hands, but let's see, maybe. I'm going to have to use two hands here. Hang on a sec. Okay, I turned up the idle a little bit. Here, let me put the camera on the seat. This really does want two hands. I think once it's started, it'll be fine. I did put some oil down that piston. Well, maybe it smokes more than a little. You know what? I think I might have a carburetor problem. I think I'm going to swap the carb out with another one in the Horde. Maybe that's the Kawasaki's problem also. So here we are. This thing, I don't know, I think I bought it like 3 years ago. Dizzy and I ran up to New Hampshire to visit Mike, Vermont, New Hampshire. It was right at the triple point there between Canada, New Hampshire, Vermont, and not all that far from Massachusetts. Just get right on the Connecticut River there. So anyway, I picked this up about 3 years ago. I got it running, and it's really been sitting for most of that time. I'm kind of trying to consolidate some stuff and move it around and all that. And I've also been wanting to get back to some of these engines that I started a while ago, and I haven't started recently. You can only let an engine sit for so long before they seize up and get into trouble. So I really just wanted to get it started, mostly for that reason. By the way, there's a regular seat right there. Then this is where Mike's wife used to sit when they went out riding. This is a well-used machine. I don't know if this is the second or third set of tires, but you can see they're uniformly well worn. So this machine spent a lot of happy hours out on the trail. Nothing wrong with that. That's what they were meant for. The engine seems okay, but it sounds like it needs a Kickstarter clutch. You can hear that kind of clicky and buzzy stuff going on with that. Doesn't make me happy, but there's not a lot I'm going to do about it. Anyway, so next time you see this thing, we'll swap out the carburetor. I gotta see if I can't get this hand grip off. It's pretty crispy, so I have the feeling it's going to be a one-way ride for that hand grip. I think once it's off, it's off. I'm not going to be able to put it back on. So I want to go slow and kind of fuss around with that. But I did want to get a video up on this today. Okay, I got to wrap this up for today. I want to thank everybody for dropping by to watch and comment and subscribe. Please share your thoughts with me. And what do you call an engine that sits around for years and years and starts this easily? What you call it is a Honda. Take care now, folks.